Because I feel like you're going to have
It's
me
not
crack
all.
it up.
I'm gonna be right in your ear. I'm gonna be right here. I'm gonna be whispering in your microphone. And
He's hilarious.
we never see each other. I
Right,
have
I
to get it in
know.
when
I
can.
know. That's so funny.
During a question period, questions you can ask them. Yeah. Okay. Just for panels. That is their payment for coming in. There are goodies and soda and waters over on the table over there.
Okay.
It's not often that I sit in front of a microphone, speak into it knowingly and intentionally, and I can't hear it.
Yeah,
You know
that
what
is-
I mean?
That is different.
I'm so used to live sound. I'm a live sound
I know,
engineer, so
it's just for the live feed, so
yeah.
we used to just put 2 or 3 mics in front of everybody, but you got so much room noise.
Right.
I wanted to try to.
This is great. I feel very special.
I just ran out of lapel mics, so.
No,
right. I
they're the
don't know
ones
how
that
I
are
would feel with
suffering.
the
They
lapel
can't
mic. I
breathe.
always,
I can breathe. I can go
these.
over here. I can breathe, you
I
know.
just feel like you're in the studio.
Yeah. I lost my lapel mic. I gave it
You're
to
gonna have
McFarlane.
a- I'm gonna have a hard time.
He never gave it back.
I'm gonna have to rein it in, dude. I gotta pull it together here.
Oh, my back.
Uh,
Oh, that felt great.
luckily, Brian and I already got into the discussion
Nice.
earlier, so I'm warmed up. That's why I was like, "What are we waiting?" No.
All right. Ready.
Who?
We're officially like 2 minutes till, but we want to get started.
Let's get it cracking, man. The longer we
Let's wait 2 minutes.
Oh, hey, what's the policy on swearing? There's a swearing policy? No swearing,
I'm
swearing's okay.
totally gonna swear.
I'm gonna do my damnedest tonight.
Same.
We're forward thinking.
My mother's probably
I'll
listening.
be damned if I say one swear.
Because the FCC
FTC?
won't let me be, let me
FCC.
be me.
I forget the words.
I do too, yeah. Doesn't like a head trick to listen to. Doesn't only give you things you joke around with your friends. It's actually the only difference is I got that policy. It's such a great song.
Yeah.
It really is. What year was that? Oh, was it 90?
So I might not be competing with
Oh.
myself. Apparently they can't figure out the board.
I'm terrible when it comes to
Oh, I love watching Mario and Jeremy flirt. It's so cute.
Oh, jeez. Where?
It was like a minute ago. It's like you guys like giggling.
We are
It's great.
cute. That's why I wanted to sit next to
You
you.
know what I'm saying?
So many campfires, dude.
Yeah.
So many fires.
campfires.
That's where we came from.
Tons.
That's where we came from.
So many parties. I
Dude,
miss
those
that.
parties were off the chain.
I miss that. I really haven't been to the art house in a long time.
We don't
It's
like
not the same
party
anymore.
like that.
I know.
Yeah.
You guys
It's
lost the
kind
flavor.
of cool.
Kind of lost the flavor. You gotta have at least one big party a month.
And then when we're ready.
I feel like.
Go and answer for the panel?
I was gonna get pictures for work hard.
Okay.
Oh, sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sure,
We'll
go
get
for
started
it.
here in just a minute. Officially at 7.
Yeah, let me know when you want me to go, and
Whenever you're good to go, we are recording. We are good. I'm on.
we're good. All right. So before every show that I do, I pull out my phone and I record a short live video to announce to the people what they can expect to see or hear. I go to Facebook Live, and then I go to Instagram. And then I go to Twitter, but I can't use Twitter. I have to download Periscope and then use Periscope. And then I go back to Facebook and I start sharing that live video over and over and over again. And then I start retweeting the Periscope video over and over and over again. And then I'm exhausted. And the show hasn't even started yet. Welcome to Work Hard Pittsburgh. This is an evening with Podcamp, musicians using social media. I am Pittsburgh's moral compass, your voice of reason among three rivers of chaos, Brian Crawford, and I was handpicked to lead tonight's discussion. Tonight, we are going to take a journey. And you can hear me Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m., riversedgepgh.com. Tonight, we're going to take a journey. We're going to journey through the good, the bad, the ugly, the money, and the llamas of social media tonight with our wonderful panel. And it's hard as a musician nowadays because not only are you performing music, not only are you running around, but you're also doing a lot of social media. So you're performing, you're going here, there, and much like podcasters or radio celebrities, it's a lot of work to try to do the social media aspect, which in many companies is a full-time job. So we brought together an elite panel of musicians to discuss tonight's event. To my left, we have Palermo Stone, who have 5 studio albums recorded, with the 5th putting you on the national scene. You've shared a stage with Talib, how do you say this?
Talib Kweli.
Talib Kweli, there we go. Pusha T, Ninth Wonder, Rhapsody, and Nipsey Hussle, plus a few more people. And you started RARE, Rare, Revitalizing Art, Reinventing Emotion, musicians to create a positive impact. This is Palermo Stone. Say hi to everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Peace.
Awesome. So very excited to have you on. To your left, we have Liss Victory, a Occupy Wall Street activist, a journalist who is using new media to give a real-life, on-the-scenes look to the world we live in, a musician who has escaped the blizzards of Erie to bring her music to the Steel City, and is currently booking shows at the Art House out in East Liberty. Liss Victory, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Awesome. And to your left, we have Mario Quinn, who is a dancer and choreographer and owner of Level Up Studios, a hip-hop recording artist, and former We Rock Workshop resident program member that was put together by Liz Berlin of the multi-platinum band Rusted Root. He is founder of Marque Clothing Company, and currently he works as a studio manager and teacher and an artist at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater and a hip-hop instructor at Los Sabrosos? Is that correct?
Los Sabrosos, yes.
There we go, dance company. So Mario Quinn, say hi to everybody.
Peace, everybody. How you doing?
And on the far end, we have Jeremy Caywood. Jeremy is a 6-year performer in the Pittsburgh area, a live audio engineer. He recently released his live album, Over and Under, which I had the pleasure of both seeing it being recorded and seeing it being released as well. And he is also a live audio engineer, as I said, at multiple venues across the city, and a llama enthusiast. Jeremy Caywood, say hi to everybody.
I knew I came here as the joke, right?
I mean, I love the llama stuff. It's great. So today I want to ask, first off, to get things started, how do you guys use social media? I'm sure you're inundated with just constantly tweeting. I know I personally, within the next year or two, I'm kind of holding off because I work at a job where I'm a supplemental employee, even though I work 48 hours a week. But I can't really take any time off until I get converted to a regular position. But as soon as that happens, I'm getting surgery on both of my wrists for carpal tunnel because that's all I do is text all day long. So you guys all use social media. Going down the panel, starting with you, Palermo, what do you use the most? Are you a Facebooker? Are you a tweeter, an Instagrammer, or are you a Snapchatter? What is your preference?
I am a tweeter.
You're a tweeter.
The most. But slowly coming over to Facebook.
Really? Now, why have you made that change?
It's just become a bigger resource. The algorithm for Facebook always puts me at the top as long as people like what I do.
Okay.
So if you like my stuff a lot, I'm always at the top. That means I'm going to get a pretty consistent amount of likes on whatever I'm doing, whether it be 100, 200, whatever it is. Normally photos are like 200 likes. If it's just a regular status, it's maybe 50, 60. But it's going to be consistent, and I know that. And I know the people that are going to see it, and it's just about trying to reach more people. So the algorithm works for me on Facebook. Twitter, you kind of just get in there, and it's gone as soon as you scroll past it. It was working pretty well. If I can get people to look at my pinned tweets, which is the one that just kind of stays
At
at
the
the
top,
top.
yeah.
But you have to go to that profile to see it. So it's more about getting people to your profile, and it's a little bit harder that way.
Liz? I keep trying to say Liz.
Don't say that.
I know. It's awesome. You know,
Don't say that.
I've known her for so long, but it's like it rolls off my tongue.
for a while.
Liz, what do you
Don't say
use? You use a lot of Facebook Live, which I thought was cool. And one of the things that's kind of cool about Liss is she does a lot of journalist stuff through her music page, and you kind of use multiple facets of your spectrum of your personality to try to brand yourself as a musician, correct?
Yeah, it's activism and music. I've sort of smashed them
Fused
together.
them.
And what I do? Yes, fusion.
What's that?
Activision?
Yeah.
Nice.
If you use it too much, it's called, I think the term is hacktivism, when you just sit on your computer and you're like, this is bad and I hate it. Enter. But the platform I tend to use the most, even though I want to get away from it because I'm trying to figure out the best money platform, is once again, it's Facebook. Because I get the most reward. I get the most engagement, and I get a lot of engagement from the live feeds, because then it's like it's become a conversation. Someone comments and I can immediately talk back to them.
That's the real thing, isn't it? Facebook seems to give you more immediate results, but something like YouTube, you have the actual opportunity to make some money off of.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, I think. And deciding where to put things, what's going to best promote, and what's going to best reach the audience. So I'm still trying to figure out the best balance for that. And, you know, for living, survival purposes, I've been trying to gear myself more toward where is the money going to come from, even though I'm like anti the monetary system. That's going to open a can of worms, and I'm not going to go there.
I'm all about money, and if you're looking to sponsor riversedgepgh.com, you can email me, Brian Crawford at riversedgepgh.com. We're accepting sponsorships as we speak, but go ahead.
I am also looking for sponsorships for the house mic that we run. It's running right now at the Art House.
Which is awesome. Very cool.
So if I'm going to wrap this up really quick, I would say a good friend of mine sat me down and said, you can't look at money like you hate it. You have to think in terms of abundance and what abundance you can create for yourself. And that's just sort of on a positive thinking realm. So where's the money at with the social media is what I'm sort of exploring right now.
Yeah, and that's a very good question and a challenging question. Mario, how do you use social media? Now, you own a business as well, so I thought you had a kind of an interesting perspective because you not only are marketing yourself as a musician, but you're also marketing yourself through your businesses as well, and that could be an interesting challenge. I know I have a hard time, and I have a challenge to try to market myself as a personality because I'm always putting so much effort towards marketing my radio network. Do you experience some of the same problems, and what do you use in social media?
Well, no, I mean, problems, no, but I tend to use Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and just one of the strategies that we try to focus on is creating quality content. Not necessarily quantity, posting all the time and stuff like that, but we really want to, and even with my music, I want to create an experience, you know? So it's all about using those platforms that allow you to create quality for your audience, you know, and Instagram, YouTube, things like that. You could do videos, you know, you got the 1 minute, you know, videos and things of that nature. And then Facebook, obviously, you get that quick reward and everything like that. But I like Facebook because you can make an ad and something like that, and you can reach a lot more people than you would without.
We're going to get into the ad part of Facebook a little bit later in today's discussion. Now, you said that you like to put out quality versus quantity.
Right.
Are there any drawbacks to that? Because sometimes just being in someone's face nonstop will force them to pay attention to you.
Right. Yeah, I guess so. You know, and I'm still a student. You know what I mean? So I'm always trying to figure out what people are looking for. You know, so that's really what I'm trying to focus on. Is just what does the audience want, and what can I bring to their life other than just, hey, I'm Level Up Studios, you should come to my studio. It's like, what can we do for you? You know, so that's kind of where we're experimenting with. Right now, you know, we changed a bunch of our language on our website and on our social media to gear it towards our customers as opposed to talking about who we are. You know, it's like, no, this is what you can experience if you come through the door. You
Very
know?
cool.
Yeah.
And Jeremy, you're all over the place. You're involved in many different things, not only a musician, but you also run sound for multiple places. You put together many events. What do you use in social media? What is your preferred social media platform?
It's definitely Facebook is just like everybody else. Oh, yeah, Facebook is so accessible. Palermo's right. If you have a certain amount of support going into a post or whatever it is that you're putting on the internet, if you have a certain amount of acknowledgement from other people, that's just going to continue to put you up higher in the everybody's going to see this realm. But Facebook's been great for me. I kind of stopped tweeting. Instagram's cool for their little 1-minute videos, getting people to, oh, I should really get interested in this. I should really stay interested. Oh, look at this wonderful gift because I support this person and have liked their products, their things, their songs, their photos, whatever it is. I guess Instagram's photos, obviously, but you can post videos too, so that's sound. But it's just a kind of interesting to see the options that we've been given and the opportunity that we can find in each one. I definitely think Facebook's the best. You mentioned YouTube first in this group, and YouTube is really good for long-lasting and investing. And you're right, you can make money.
But it's hard. I mean, it's very hard
It's
to
a
make
whole
money
other job.
on YouTube.
It's like, hey, check
because
out my
there's-
craft, but...
We have a question from the audience.
How do you make money on YouTube?
Through views.
Viewers.
Viewers. And there's also an option to monetize now. So basically, when you upload a YouTube video, there's an option on that video to click for monetization, but you have to sign up for that. It's an easy thing. They're actually forcing people into it at this point. So you click the monetization, and then that pushes ads to your YouTube video. And then from there, people can click those ads or view those ads. And the more traffic you have coming through your YouTube site, the more money you're going to make. So that's how someone like Chewbacca Mom is able to become a millionaire when people like us who are working our asses off are here starving. So now I know you do a lot of events. All of your events are successful. I've been to several of your events. They're always packed. Do you attribute that to social media and people sharing? Because one thing that you do well, Jeremy, is you get a lot of people to share your content.
Well, I think a lot of that comes back to camaraderie and knowing each other in the scene. Like most of the panelists here all know each other. I just met Palermo, but now I feel like we all understand each other for each of our own gifts, and we're all working for that. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make sure if I see something coming down the line for Liss or whoever, I'm just going to, if I support that person, then I have more of a reason to share it, and then it returns to me. And those are little things that it comes down to your friends. And true fans and supporters of whatever your craft is. If you don't have people who truly see that you're working hard for something because you're not providing that quality, right? You're not providing that quality. How are you supposed to engage them that way? I guess I don't know.
Now, Palermo, you said you used Twitter
Yeah.
originally, and now you're moving to Facebook.
Yeah.
You've also mentioned that you've had some national attention through your last album.
Yeah.
And I wasn't surprised to hear that you were the only one on this panel to mention Twitter, because in my observation, it seems like Twitter is much better in sports, and it's much better in people who have a national presence.
Yeah.
On the
Agreed.
local level, I feel like Facebook has a much stronger appeal because you can reach out to your friends, you can reach out to people in your community. It's easier to target people who are local versus Twitter. It seems like it's more because of the because it's so widespread and there's a lot of anonymous elements to Twitter that it seems like it has more of a national grab.
Yeah, I mean,
Plus, Facebook kind of limits you to who you can add.
Yeah, true. And you have a limit as well. So there's a friend limit, and there's also limitations with like different things. And Facebook started obviously as a college thing. You had to have a .edu. And then once it switched from .edu to anyone can get it, that's when the initial like internet boom started to happen, where artists were able to get on there and actually become something from Facebook, because it wasn't just a college thing. And some people were like in a college circuit. I remember artists like when I was just starting rapping, they were like, yeah, like I'm on Facebook, because they're in college. They were college rappers, and there was like a huge college rapper boom at that time, like Asher Roth and things like that. So it was like huge, and then it switched over to anyone can have a Facebook, and it became more diluted. But Twitter is kind of like this global market. Like I'm not from Pittsburgh on Twitter. I'm from the internet.
Yes.
So it's just like, no one cares that I'm from Pittsburgh. People on Facebook care that I'm from Pittsburgh because it's more of like, I want to support my guy. But people on Twitter have no care. I'm just from the internet at that point. So it just becomes easier.
So for someone like you, that would be very beneficial because you're a musician and you're looking for wide reach. Someone like me, that really wouldn't do me much good because I'm very locally based. I'm local music. I'm local talk. We talk about local issues. So I don't know if maybe that's a reason why we do so much better on Facebook.
Better on Facebook, yeah.
So we're going to get into the good, the bad, the ugly, the money, and the llama of social media. We're going to roll into the good. And Mario, how do you stand out amongst other artists on Facebook? Because one of the good things about Facebook, and of course I am forever the pessimist, one of the good things about Facebook is and Twitter and social media in general is it's so inexpensive to get your name out there and get yourself out to the masses, but at the same time, everybody can do it. Right. So you could be really, really good, but you have to somehow feed through this swamp of crap that's out there, of people who, throw up like a cheap webcam and have maybe taken one music lesson and picked up the guitar for the first time, but they're getting as much airtime, so to speak, on Facebook as you are when you're a professional.
One, you have to have somewhat of a following. It's like people already know who I am. I always say I'm the only Mario Quinn in Pittsburgh. That's like my thing. So like people know who I am, and I tend to try not to talk too much. I try to do.
Okay.
It's all about actions for me. And, people see that. They're like, yo, this dude, Mario Quinn, I always see him doing something. He's always boom, 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 boom. And I get likes and I get shares and things of that nature because of that. You know? And I just try my best to just keep it 100. I'm not about trying to be better than anyone or anything like that. But I'm trying to do something positive for this community, And I think that's what makes Level Up, Mario Quinn, all that stand out. You know what I mean? That's valued, because it's real.
That's interesting because Liss, you take the complete opposite approach where you're out there and you're out on the street and you're talking to people.
You talking?
And no, I'm serious. Like you're out there doing the journalist type thing, but that adds to your music as well. So you're not talking and you're just doing, but you're talking a lot.
I do talk a lot. Can I just end it there? No, I think that's who said to me something very similar to that. When Quinn talks about doing, I feel very similarly. I want to talk because I want to have discussion. And recently there's been more of a desire, at least for me, to talk to as many different people as possible because I'm sort of in this what's going on, what's happening state. So that seems to facilitate or necessitate more discussion, in my opinion. Some people think it necessitates more violence. I don't agree with those people. They get very angry at me. A friend of mine said, it was Ian Insect. He said he wants to focus more on producing rather than being a spectator. And I'm totally on board with that. And I think what you're referring to are the people who say, yeah, man, I have all of these ideas, but then they never execute any of those ideas. And you just say, yeah, man, that's great. I can't wait to see it actually happen. And then it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I have two questions from the audience. You're listening to An Evening with Podcamp here at Work Hard Pittsburgh. We're talking to musicians using social media. Question one comes from Ty. She asks if anybody here is thinking about using Patreon. And we're going to start with this question, and then we're going to roll into a half negative because we're going to move from good to bad. But one more thing on good. Is anyone here using Patreon to try to raise money and support yourselves? We have Patreon on the River's Edge. I'm not very good at promoting it, so we have a couple sponsors. Actually, one of them is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, which is a product of Sorgatron Media, who's one of the major players here at Podcamp Pittsburgh. The other one comes from one of the managers of one of the artists that's on our network, so we're really appreciative of those Patreon subscribers. But does anyone here use Patreon? It's a service. No? Nobody knows what Patreon is?
Liss knows.
Look into
Okay, so
it. Yeah.
Patreon's a way where people can become your patron, and they can give you a monthly or a weekly payment to help support your brand and your cause. So no, Pi, nobody's using Patreon
Not
except
yet.
for me.
Not yet.
I will be.
Check it out. Check it out.
Definitely Patreon. I'm
Our
gonna
next
write that
question
down.
comes from Durf, who asks if the iPod, and we're going to move from good to bad. He wants to know if the iPod has killed the music industry. Remember, you too can follow us here on the live video and ask your questions at Podcamp Pittsburgh. Has the iPod killed the music industry? I'll give you my thoughts, and then I want to hear yours. I think in some ways it may have saved the music industry for a local artist, because if you're not part of some record label, you have no way of getting your music out there for people to purchase. What do you guys think as local artists?
Did the iPod kill the music,
I
or
don't-
kill the music industry? Is that what you said the
Well,
question?
the question that Durf has asked is if the iPod has killed the music industry. I counter his question and wonder if it may have created more opportunities for local musicians.
I think that the iPod was a great invention for us to be able to carry a lot of music at one time. I don't think it killed or made or did anything except that.
But the ability of iTunes to be able to sell your music across the country as easily if you as pod, because before you would have been required to out there, people wouldn't have as easy access to hear your music.
I see where you're coming from.
That's my point of view. I think for a local artist, it may actually be beneficial. Maybe I'm wrong. You're a local artist. I am not a.
Easier. Like we were just talking about it before, me and Mario, about how to get on iTunes and those things. And he said, he was like, you were one of the first people I saw doing that. And I was just asking questions to people that were this close to being in the industry as far as business side, and they gave me that knowledge. So it definitely made it easier for people to have your music and carry it around. I think there's a newer thing where streaming is totally different than the ability to just own the music and have the music. I think streaming is saving the industry in the sense that you have to make music that's going to last, because it's not just a $10 download and you have it forever. You have to make music that people want to listen to over and over and over again, or you're not going to make money.
And for the
So I think it's saving musicality because you have to make music that's great, or no one's going to listen to it more than one time.
And for the best local streaming music, go to riversedgepgh.com. The bad.
Emotions.
The time commitment to put, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, your Facebook Living, your Periscoping, your Instagramming, your Snapchatting, your whatever elsing. And it's exhausting, and for many companies, it's a full-time job, and unfortunately, nothing is linked. Even Instagram and Facebook, their live functions are not linked, and they're the same company, I believe. So, talk about that. Is that a challenge to try to put together good content because you're so distracted by trying to promote all the time? I know I personally, with my radio business, often feel like I spend more time promoting what's coming up than actually performing my craft.
Yeah, I mean,
Nope. You first.
excuse me. Anywho, no, I definitely see that as a challenge. You know, it's like for me running a business. It's like I need to focus on running a business, also teaching classes, and I'm like, oh wow, I have to post something on Facebook because I haven't posted or I haven't done anything on Instagram, and it's definitely a challenge. But Liss made a really good point, and she while we were on our way here, and she talked about setting time aside
Okay.
for that. And I think if you set time aside for it, you can do it. Another perspective is, are you going out to the bar and having a drink, or are you sitting down and doing work?
Can't you
know
do
what I mean?
both? Can't you sit at the bar and pull out the phone and...
You can. We're drinking and doing work right now. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's like people think they don't have time, but you always have time. You'll make time for whatever's important. You know what I mean? But it's definitely a challenge, But that's why I have a studio assistant who I was like, hey, do that. And automated posts.
Oh,
Will
that's
save your
such a
life.
cool
Okay, but
Will save your life.
isn't there a challenge to that as well? Because don't you come across as somewhat robotic if you're seeing the same
No,
post?
just look at it as an automated post is like Liss. I know Liss will always have my back.
Trying to say she's robotic?
She'll always have my back. Do you get what I'm saying?
So you're saying she's going to share it and
It's not like I'm like,
retweet it.
Liss, I need you to take care of every problem that I have in my life, or I need you to introduce me to every musician or every Brian you know.
Uh-huh.
But I know she will. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see, yeah.
So that's how automated posts work. You don't use it for everything, but it's in place for those times where you're like, crap, I had 2 dance classes to teach and I had a meeting, but thank God I put that automated post. I
Well,
set that
that
up.
brings up an interesting point because you also have some of these platforms like Hootsuite and what's the other one I use? There's some other ones like Hootsuite where you can automate posts and they'll stretch across multiple platforms, but then you get into a situation where you're gearing it towards Twitter because that's the only way you're going to tag people, and then it doesn't make sense on Facebook because then all of a sudden on Facebook you see at whatever, and it looks kind of amateurish, to be honest. So how do you tackle that kind of a situation? Do you just schedule one for every type of platform?
Well, I think Facebook has its own thing where you can.
They
you
do,
can
but there's one that will put
go
all of
across
them
the
together.
board.
Yeah,
Well,
across
I mean,
the board.
if you know it's gonna fuck your shit up, don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to be strategic. You know, you got to be smart. You know?
I used Hootsuite for a while. Well, it was like my manager at the time. He was like all about it, it was great, but there was zero interaction on any of those posts. And I don't know if that's a part of the algorithm of those websites, but not one of those posts throughout a year had one retweet, one favorite, one anything. And I'm sure people saw it because I saw it, but I don't know if it was the fact that it looked robotic or the link wasn't like a regular link and it didn't pull up my SoundCloud as it looks on if I were to post it myself, or whatever the situation was. It didn't get any traction, like zero traction. So I kind of stopped doing it, but it makes it more difficult because now it's more time consuming to do all that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too, because people say if you add a personal touch to your post, people are more likely to read it and interact. But if you are doing something automated, then you kind of lose that aspect. So there's kind of that challenge too, right?
Well, I think that's something you can solve with language.
Uh-huh.
I mean, depending on the type of post, but it's like what.
So are you talking about more automated, like you schedule a post to hit once, or are you talking more like it's going to repost the same thing over and over?
No, nothing like that. Like just to hit once.
Because there's
you know
both.
what I mean, yeah.
And sometimes it's good, like especially on Twitter. I feel like if you put out the same thing on Twitter, it's more okay than if you do it on Facebook. I feel like if you do it on Facebook that way, then it's got a negative connotation
right,
to
yeah,
it.
It gets annoying saying the same thing over and over again. But yeah, I'm talking about like a one-time deal, so that you can at least have that one post a day on each of the platforms that you use. You know what I mean? But like you can choose the language. You can't just like, oh, I'm cool, and post that. You know what I mean? Like people are like, what the hell is that? There's no value there. You know what I mean? But you know, if you're like, hey, do you have a 5-year-old child who blah 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 lacks in confidence? Well, level up. We give your child confidence.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, oh. And then you put a little cute picture of a kid. Right, you know what I mean? Seriously.
Yeah.
No, that is my secret. LevelUpPGH.com.
Jeremy, what is your biggest social media blunder? What is the biggest mistake you've ever made? What was a disaster? Something you posted and you thought,
A disaster.
oh, God, what a nightmare. People were posting that it's a disaster. People were saying that, you know, you're done, he's through, he's finished, he'll never survive this tweet.
I'm ready.
When you get too personal, and it's a fine line, you talk about making your posts personal. I actually sort of don't use my Facebook music page the way that many other Facebook music page users use their Facebook music page.
Explain. It's very.
Great.
I use
very
my personal
nondescript.
page for my business, and I use my music page for pinned posts, or posts I would want it to be pinned, because I don't have enough likes on my Facebook page yet to be able to pay and have the boosting of the post actually profit me at show. I usually lose money if I add to Facebook right now. However, the label I'm on adds money to their post pertaining to my show, and they get a lot of traction. So it's interesting to me, and they have I think we're probably around the same amount of likes, honestly, on the actual personal pages, which is interesting, right? As a guy on a label, you want more likes. Maybe there's more, I don't know. It's a tight-knit live, more focused on live label in my eyes. Everything I've done with that label has been experience-based. The promotion was never, in my eyes, on them or to do more than I was going to do. I was always going to do more. So pertaining to things that I've done that why the hell did he say that? I mean, I can think of non-specific posts, but plenty of topics that I've approached on social medias that I ended up having to completely remove and go and find some certain people and have private conversations with them, pardon me, about it, and make sure that we're cool and make sure that it wasn't a detriment to my career, as they say.
Let's roll down the row here. Mario, your biggest social media blunder, the thing that put you on fire. You're calling the fire department. Put this shit out because it's a nightmare.
This is something I don't do anymore. And I'm sure Liss can attest to this. I used to constantly post about issues in the black community, very real issues, and I would be what you would call conscious and whatnot, and yeah, I would get some white friends like, bruh, why you gotta say that? I'm not racist. I got plenty of black friends type deal. And, I've gotten to a lot of battles, talking about politics, whatever it may be, but it's always like this black and white issue. And it's not because I'm trying to argue with anyone, but because I really feel strongly about some inequalities in our country and around the world. And, but I found that, I don't know how many friends that I lost in like real life, that people I don't talk to, or, people who are like, oh, you're always blah, blah. You're so Afrocentric, this and that, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to waste my time with that. You know what I mean? So like, what I post now is strictly business, or it's my son. You know what I mean? That's it.
Not to get too political, but I mean, if you can kind of count on, your hands how many friends of different groups you have, it's kind of a weird thing to keep track of. Right. But Liss, where have you screwed up? Where have you done wrong?
Lots and lots of stuff, and I will continue to screw things up forever because I think that is part of the human condition, making mistakes and trying to amend them. This is related, a little off topic though. Mm-hmm. I have this weird sort of strict no delete policy on Facebook, and I think in general, actually, across all platforms. And I think it has to do with my journalism background and how many things I've seen printed in black and white text that will exist for all of eternity. So I try to go in with that mindset when I'm posting on the internet as well, even though it could be gone or changed in an instant. Also, I think of 1984, not the year, the book and movie, where they edited newspapers and things like that, and that stuff freaks me out. So if I do something or if I say something that's a mistake, I want it to remain there so that I can be held accountable for it, as odd as that might sound. And the most trouble I've had is with a political statement that I made about the quote was, "I will not judge you based on how you vote." I didn't even say, it wasn't even in past tense.
Sure.
It wasn't even necessarily saying, I will not judge you if you voted for Trump. I didn't even say that. I just said based on how you vote in general, and it got a lot of it kind of became like a sounding board of anger.
People are so touchy. So like I posted a status, I think you saw it, where I quoted a Democratic strategist who worked for Hillary Clinton that said you shouldn't bash Trump supporters and demonize them because it's the wrong approach, and I was attacked by quoting a Democrat, by Democrats saying how I'm completely wrong and I'm a monster and everything else. So I completely get that. It's a crazy world where you can't even say, don't name call without being attacked, which you think would be like something that's kind of like normal, right? Like don't call people names. Like that's
things aren't normal right now.
No. Palermo, your worst social media mistake?
Mine would probably be. Well, it kind of was I guess it was a catalyst to multiple things. But I got my start in music in Pittsburgh was with Mac Miller. I was his hype man.
It's a big name.
Yeah, it's a big name. Yeah, he's doing very well. He came, and we're friends. So he came to Pittsburgh, right? And he went to the studio, and he had a bunch of people in the studio, but he didn't call me. And I was like, the fuck? So instead of just calling him, because he's my friend, I got on Twitter, and I was like, if you're doing some Pittsburgh shit, my phone should have rang. And I tweeted it. And
Called him out.
And then he responded. So it went like something that was really like maybe like 10 people saw. It was like, all right, now like all these people saw that. Because he responded to me and he was like, bro, like you should have texted me. And then like other people that were like, or friends of mine that were like, you know, defending him. And it became like this whole thing for like a week. And then my manager at the time, Rami, was like, we can use this, we can spin it. And then an article, he wrote for a blog, and he wrote an article about the interaction, and it became worse. But we're good now, but it was bad for a short period of time there.
Yeah.
But that was the worst thing, yeah.
As I said on Liss's show the other day, I'm infallible, so I have no social media taboos. We have a question from the audience. No, we have a question from the Facebook Live from Andy. He asks, in terms of distribution services that will put your music, you will put your music on, Spotify, Tidal, etc., what do you guys recommend? I know what I would recommend. RiversEdgePGH.com, Pittsburgh's voice for local music.
I personally, I recommend them all. It's the way to get your music heard by the world. You know, like everyone doesn't have. I have Apple Music and I have Spotify. I do not have Tidal. I had Tidal for a short period of time, but I'm not paying for every streaming service. SoundCloud is huge. It's going to get bigger because of Chance the Rapper shouting it out at the Grammys. But you have to have your ducks in a row. So if you are a musician and you're asking this question,
and he is.
Trade secret. If you're going to do that kind of stuff, make sure you have like BMI, ASCAP, or something like that to collect your royalties from all those places. And also make sure you do something like Song Trust or Sound Exchange. So you can get your international royalties as well. And those are things from SoundCloud, from YouTube, from all these places where you wouldn't normally get money from.
Okay.
Because people aren't buying your music, they're just streaming your music.
So I didn't know that you could do that with SoundCloud.
You can do that with, a little bit of everything now. So as long as it's being played, you get your mechanical royalties from that stuff. It's a little bit less money than someone physically buying your album, but $4 is $4. $5 is $5. So anything helps when you're putting money towards your drink.
What does everyone else recommend? What do you guys use? Liss?
Bandcamp is a great starter.
Okay.
Great free starter. I did my licensing through CD Baby. I don't know if anybody else is down with CD Baby. In terms of something I paid for and bought for licensing. But Bandcamp is a great free resource. SoundCloud also a great free resource. But I think CD Baby, when it comes to distribution in general, that's like my go-to right now because I did a
lot
ton
of local artists
on
use that. A lot of local artists use CD Baby.
And it's relatively affordable, especially for the digital distribution.
Trust me, I know because I post videos on YouTube and we'll use some different artists' songs for intro and outro type stuff, and I always get dinged, CD Baby, we're gonna collect money, and I could fight it because I legally have a ground to stand on, but I'm like, I'll let the artists have the money for
That's
it.
cool.
But it's it's definitely a great resource that a lot of local artists use. Mario?
Right now, just Bandcamp and SoundCloud for me, but I just got a distribution deal, so I'm gonna be all over iTunes and all that stuff, so just riding the wave right now. But
I think it's important to be everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
That's one thing, with the River's Edge, where for a podcast, as far as that side goes, we're on TuneIn Radio, Google Play, iTunes, all over the place. And, there's some podcasts out there who I've checked out, they're not even on iTunes. I'm thinking, how's anyone going to find your product if you're not even on iTunes? Right. So, Jeremy, what do you use?
I'm all over. Thanks to the label, I got iTunes, Spotify, Bandcamp's easy, SoundCloud's amazing. Screw the iPhone because they don't have the record feature like the Droid does on the
Sure,
app.
there's an app, isn't there?
I
you can
looked for
download.
it. They don't have it?
What are you talking
You
about?
have the record feature
I
on
have
yours?
a voice memo.
Oh, I got a voice memo, yeah, but SoundCloud, you used on Droid,
you're
you can
right, with
record
SoundCloud.
straight
Oh, yes.
to
To
SoundCloud.
yeah.
Because I tried
And
to do that
I
the
used
other
to
day.
constantly update on SoundCloud, and it was huge. Like when I moved back from college, it was like my thing. It was like the only thing going for me. Facebook was nothing. My posts didn't mean anything. I had no following at that point. But SoundCloud, I continuously was able to just update, and I would write all the time. And so people were like, "Man, you write all the time." I was like, "You're listening to SoundCloud, aren't you?" Like, so SoundCloud was huge, has been huge. I haven't used it.
It embeds well too on a website.
Yes.
Very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But things
So
like that, yeah.
we're going to run a little bit late on tonight's panel, as long as Sorg doesn't yell at me. Okay. We're going to move. We've gone through the good. We've gone through the bad. Next, we're going to move into the ugly. We've got the money and the llama to wrap things up. It's about how social media brought a llama to a stage in Lawrenceville. But through the ugly, Liss, you've had some Facebook stalkers.
Yes.
Ooh.
And I won't block them.
Yeah, she won't block them either. That's the thing.
I think that falls into that weird I have a lot of weird policies about things. But I think, what if I was the overzealous fangirl, right? And I think, like I'm taking that away from them. I have like an ex that I've blocked, somebody who killed a guy that I blocked. You have to pretty
That's
much
kind of funny.
kill a guy.
My first fan mail. Okay, so I did talk radio out of WCAL at Cal U, and I always thought, because a lot of prisoners listen to our radio station, and I always thought that somebody's gonna like sneak out of jail and want to kill me because I'm very open about my opinion, and I don't hide anything. I don't parse words. Well, I got this long letter. It was like
Written?
very small print, handwritten, from
Nice.
prison, and the guy loved me. He loved everything I was talking about. It was great, but yeah. So you get some interesting fans, but yeah, you've had many people who've either stalked you or creeped on you, and how do you deal with that? Because that's got to be aggravating, especially if you won't block them.
Well, yeah, I think that the best way to deal with social media stalkers, if you're not blocking them, or you don't want to go to that extreme, is the same thing to deal with exes who won't leave you alone. It's got to be the ice cold ignore. You can't give them anything, any little thing. Like I'll get comments from my overzealous fans, and I can't even like it or say thanks, bro. Like none of that stuff, because it opens the floodgates of, oh my god, I love you, and da 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 da. And then I get 16 private messages from this person, and I'm like, oh gosh, all I did was like your comment. So you got to do stone cold, freeze them out. Overzealous fans and exes, kind of the same thing.
Has anyone else dealt with a stalker? I mean, I know we're all not beautiful women like Liss,
Oh,
but
shucks.
you're all artists, and people gravitate towards people who can create.
Yeah.
Have any of you dealt with a stalker, or anybody who's been really
just
creepy?
Trolls, man.
Trolls.
People who always got something to say. Like, it's
That-
like, what do you do, bro?
That brings me into my next question: the keyboard warriors, the people who take up the sword and take up the good fight against anybody
Right.
who's successful, because they're working some 9-to-5 schmuck job. So, how do you deal with the keyboard warriors, the people who are so jealous?
I don't even know. I got a guy, he was from like Egypt or something, man, and he went on Level Up and did a review and gave us 3 stars, and it took us from 5 stars to 4.9.
Ugh.
And I was like, I went to Facebook, I'm like, can I dispute this, man? I don't even know this. So like, yeah, man, that was my only issue. And then like, again, like, if I post anything close to something that's like a touchy subject, I always get people trying to give me a paragraph about how I'm the racist one and all this crap. And it's like, yo, first of all, bruh, I can't be racist because I'm black. Secondly, I don't oppress a whole group of freaking people. Okay, but no, I've never had a stalker, but like definitely just people who like to.
Well, what about the
chit-chat.
trolls though? Because that's a good point. How do you deal with that? I know personally in the talk radio business, people don't hate you. You're doing something wrong, especially if you're.
Right.
Not so much if you're in a position that's not controversial, but I talk
Right.
about a lot of issues. So if people don't disagree with me,
Right.
that I'm doing something wrong because people either love you or hate you.
Right.
But in what
I
you
mean,
guys do, it's a little bit
if-
different because if you piss somebody off or say the wrong thing, it could be very negative. With me, especially being my own boss, I welcome that kind
Right.
of controversy and that kind of fight.
I mean, for me, it's all about perspective. So if I say something that's a touchy subject and someone actually responds with an intelligent response, and I'm like, oh, this person is an idiot, yeah, I'll respond and explain myself or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if it's just some random person who's just like, well, they just want to disagree or to sound cool, whatever, I don't even entertain it. I'm like, whatever. Like just like Liss, the cold shoulder. You get it, the whole thing. It's like Coors Light on my shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
See, I wish I
The mountains are blue.
I wish I could do that, but
Seriously.
I just love pissing people off on Facebook. Like, that's one of the few
Yeah.
things I do on Facebook. I promote my brand, and I stir the pot.
Yeah.
I just love causing controversy, so I have a hard time with that. And sometimes I should just back
Sometimes
off, but
that is fun. I mean,
Yeah.
especially if you know what you're talking about. Sometimes I get some smart people. They start using big words. I take that offensively. I'm like, you don't have to use these big words that I've never heard. You know, so like that's why I'm like, all right, I'm chilling. You know.
Jeremy, who stalked you?
I didn't have a stalker. I had
Troll?
this guy that blew my phone up, though.
Oh no.
He's like,
Give
You
me
know,
your
in
bio.
high
Give me your
school
bio
and
because
everything.
we needed a bio to post
I had to change
on
my
the
phone
evening with
number. That
Podcamp.
was like the first time I ever really experienced anything like that.
Oh.
On Facebook, I don't know. I wouldn't call it trolls. I don't have that many people that come onto my Facebook per se just to give me hell. But anytime that I do something that bothers somebody else and I hear about it, I usually take it private if I know them, and if I don't know them, I stay away from it in general. I just allow them to have their opinion after I stated mine, and that was your opinion about my opinion, and cheers. Like, I don't need to get into a verbal battle to decide who it is that's right or wrong. I think there's something right in the fact that you have your opinion, and I don't need to be forced to believe that that's how it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you don't need to be forced to believe that's how I believe it should be. So unless I know the person, I let the other people around me on Facebook deal with it. You know.
Yeah. No,
or Twitter
Palermo,
or whatever.
You've dealt with trolls, yes?
Yeah. I've dealt with like local rappers. I'm very open and very frank. So this dude Ghosty, who I've been friends with, who I started rapping with, he was one of the first dudes I started rapping with. But like all of a sudden, he just started hating my music, and I don't know why.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if it was something else like personal that made him kind of go towards this way, but I don't know. Every time I would post a song or something or a video, he would just comment on it, and it'd be very negative.
Mm-hmm.
But my approach is just kill him with kindness, you know, like because I'm only filled with love, so I don't really understand the hate. So it's just like I can't even give you hate back because I like him. We were friends. I really like that guy. And if I don't know you, I don't know you to hate you. So it's like there's a situation where like if like even on Twitter, because Twitter's like this global thing. Someone retweets my song, and then there's a comment like, "This is all right, but my boy's better." And it's just like, that's fine. You listen to it, so that's something for me. But on Twitter, I normally don't respond. Facebook is like a little bit more because other people like egg it on a little bit.
Sure.
But I just kind of kill them with kindness.
God, I wish I could get people to egg me on Twitter. I have no luck on Twitter, but then again, I don't put a lot of time into it, so.
Yeah,
I feel like,
here if you put time into Twitter, it really pays off. I don't put a whole lot of time into Twitter, but I have other people who. Liss, you put a lot of time into Twitter, don't you?
Not as much as I wish I could.
Yeah.
But
Anytime that I've been involved with shows with you, or Brian, you and I have done something, or whoever it is that I do work with that's involved with Twitter, it's always received really well. Like all the hashtags, all the tags that they put in general on it, like they know how to use it. People who know how to use Twitter can really succeed, I think.
so Twitter's more of a learning process than you're saying, versus Facebook is more natural to use?
I don't know how much it really takes to learn Twitter.
Well, Palermo, you've used it.
Yeah.
Is it a learning process with Twitter, or is it something? Is
think-
Facebook more natural?
I think it's a learned process of how to get engagement on Twitter because it's literally you post it, and depending on how many people you follow, it's gone like that. So it's a matter of how are you posting and engaging things. Are you using GIFs? I think that is like the least used thing that makes people stop and watch whatever is happening there. Because it's not a video. You don't have to sit there for a minute.
Yeah, unless you're using Periscope.
Unless you're using Periscope, right?
Which you have to download a separate app for.
Which is ridiculous. And if you're using like GIFs, it's just something small.
Now, what is a gift? I don't even know what that is.
I don't graphic something.
Okay.
Sure, F is for format. I'm gonna assume.
Uh-huh.
But it's just like a moving photo. So it's just like a 1.5.
So it's like a
second.
GIF type of thing, isn't that what they call it on Facebook?
Yeah.
So I'm like really like some things I'm really good at on social media. Other things I'm like, is it a
it's
GIF?
GIF, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a moving photo. So it's just something
Okay.
to make you stop and say like, oh, what was that? Maybe I'll read it. Even if it's something stupid or funny. And that's why I like Twitter, because they integrated it right into their toolbar. And Facebook hasn't done that yet. And then you can't even play GIFs on Facebook. So that's like a thing that I like about Twitter, because it's more of a social experiment than Facebook. Facebook's more of just like a thing it's like more of a community. Twitter's like a social experiment to see how far you can take this one thought or one idea.
Have you ever bought an ad on Twitter? Look at that. We're moving into the financial section. Look at that, that little segue.
I've purchased an ad on Twitter. It did far less than it did on Facebook.
Did you get any results? Because when I've posted an ad on Twitter, I actually got a message back from Twitter saying, hey, we tried. We tried. We couldn't reach one person. Here's your money back.
Wow.
I've been given my money back from Twitter because they've been so unsuccessful at selling what I'm trying to push.
It was unsuccessful. Yeah, it was definitely like something where, and they gave me like a free business credit, so I didn't lose money. I used the $50 or whatever.
See, they didn't even give me credit. They literally just gave me the cash back. We're like, there's
like
no helping you, buddy.
It was for my for the Rare page, and I used it, and it doesn't have as many followers as my personal page, but it was like 1,000. I have 1,000 something followers on the company page, and it just didn't do anything. It was like, I don't know. It was just kind of worthless, because I couldn't pinpoint as much as I can for Facebook. Like if I know I'm going to Cleveland for a show on
You
Facebook,
can tag that
I
city.
can just tag that city. And it's way better for geotagging than Twitter. At least was at that time. I don't know if it's advanced or not, but at that time I couldn't do anything. Just post it.
Yeah. Mario, you use Facebook for your business. Have you ever bought an ad for your business?
Absolutely, tons.
Successful? Unsuccessful?
Most of them are pretty successful, I would say. I mean, if it doesn't convert into a customer, it's a like, it's an inquiry, you know, which allows us to do our job and follow up. Also, Instagram, I didn't do an ad, but, you know,
you can buy ads on Instagram?
No, I don't know. I try to use the new swipe up feature they have to link our website to get people to register for classes. So that's something that we're researching. You know, that I'm hopefully going to use for my music too once I get everything in order with that as well. So
have you been seeing a diminishing return on your investment through social media advertising? Because I used to do different ads on Facebook, and I would put down, you know, $5, just a $5 ad, and I would reach, you know, 1,000 to 3,000 people. Well, for this event, for Podcamp Pittsburgh, I actually have the email from Facebook. It's your promotion, and I spent $10, and I reached 403 people. Versus, you know, just a few months ago, half the price would have reached 2,000 to 3,000 people.
Right. Well, I mean, I mean,
and I use the same algorithm.
Is that paid?
That's a paid
versus
boost.
Organic?
Yeah, paid boost.
Okay. I mean, maybe you got to check what you're saying. You know, what are you saying? You know, to promote it. You know, and images are key. It's like you gotta. I have a friend who's like huge on Twitter, and he said you can't lose with cats and dogs.
Okay.
You know? You can't lose.
Kittens and puppies.
Literally. So sometimes, like, it depends on like what you have in your picture. Like, is it going to catch the person quick enough? And if it does, they're going to click on it. You know.
Okay.
So like, you know, thinking about different things like that, different strategies like that. It may seem cheesy, but it might work out for you in the long run to take
Well,
that
that's
risk.
a big question. Like, where do you give up your soul and where do you hold tight? I'm not saying that posting a picture of a puppy is giving up your soul,
Right.
but like you see somebody's tweet and it's like hashtag Justin Bieber, hashtag this, hashtag that,
Yeah.
hashtag. It has nothing to do with what they're actually talking about.
Right.
They just hashtag a bunch of shit
Right.
to try to get their name out there.
No, I
do you
think-
feel like you're kind of compromising your values at that point as a professional?
If you're doing that, absolutely, because I hate that too. On YouTube, man, and you're looking for a freaking song on YouTube, bruh, and you're like, oh, I found it, and then you start playing it, and then it turns into some other person's song. I absolutely hate that. Do I think it's genius in a way? Yeah, but is that for me and for my business? Not at all.
Soldier Boy, Big Soldier.
Uh-huh.
He he's insane now. But that's how he got famous. He put like whatever the popular song was at the time. He would put that as the title, and then you would play and he would use like whatever the screenshot is of the YouTube video. It would be Justin Bieber.
Okay.
And then once you played it, it was his song. So he would get millions of views
Because of that.
just off of that. And,
I feel so cheap when I do that, though. Like, I can't do that. I'm sorry. And
he's a multi-millionaire. So I don't know.
well,
what's-
Chewbacca Mom is a freaking millionaire now too.
But he's not-
I'm sorry. I hate Chewbacca Mom. For anybody listening, Chewbacca Mom can kiss my ass. I hate Chewbacca
So,
Mom.
I don't know
on there.
what Chewbacca Mom
She
is,
goes
but
on there. She
I'm
takes a
probably gonna
video
look
while she's driving with the Chewbacca mask, and she's laughing. And now she's a millionaire. When people like us are like killing ourselves every day, putting out real content, we're not just laughing with a mask. Maybe that's what I should do on air. I should just laugh with my creepy horse mask, and maybe I can become a millionaire. Question from the audience.
So you hear, I guess like you get paid, I guess if you get hits on like SoundCloud or Bandcamp or YouTuber. So now, like, how many hits do you have to get to actually make something like, you know what I mean? Like
money, actually make good money. When it comes to like music, it's insane the amount of like streaming money. Drake did a billion I think a billion streams, but it was good for $666,000. So it's like a third of whatever you're actually doing, you actually get money for. So if you're an artist like myself, like let's say my last album I did like 10,000 streams or something like that on Spotify alone. So I got like $38. So it's like, I reached 10,000 people or 10,000 streams, however that's calculated, but I only got $38 for that. When I could have just went and met 4 people outside and sold them 4 CDs for $10 and made more than what I did reaching 10,000 people.
Okay, so that brings me up to my question, which I have for all of you guys. I see people all the time on Facebook paying for advertisements to give Spotify free promotions when they're going to make like pennies on the dollar, if anything, from Spotify. I give them a freaking page on my website where they can buy tickets to their shows, and I can't even get a damn shout out. How do you get musicians to like promote something that's locally driven to try to drive the local music scene, which is heard, by the way, across the country, or the world, really? Why is it that someone like me, and maybe you can answer this as an artist, why can't, before we get into our last segment, why can't I get any traction on something like that? Nobody will, like Tim Vitullo shares my stuff all the time. He's a great artist. I know Jeremy's involved me in many opportunities, and Liss has done many things as well. So I do have some artists who do, but by and large, most of my artists, they do nothing to say that they're on the river's edge, but they get on DVE for one day out of the year, and it's like they're paying the $30 ad to say that they're on DVE, yet they're streaming on my network 24/7 and being heard across the world, and I can't get even a mention. Do you know why that exists?
I'm assuming here that it's based on name dropping. You know what I mean? Like if P Diddy's like, yo, check out Mario Quinn versus Liss, I'm gonna be like, yo, P Diddy just shouted me out. You feel me? Like, so I think that
But
might,
I'm the biggest
that might
name in
add to
Pittsburgh,
it.
damn
Right,
it.
Hey, but like, and then you have to show them how you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how are you letting artists know, like, yo, what I'm doing is a big deal. You know what I mean? Sometimes they don't know because they're so dumb. You know what I mean? Like, for real, because most artists, there's a lot of music. Everyone's
Yeah,
a
'cause it
rapper,
drives me
everyone's
nuts,
a
'cause-
guitar player, but they're not serious. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like, so for the people who are serious, you have to show them how you're adding value to their career.
That's
You know what I
interesting.
mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I'm thinking like, okay, DVE will put you on one Friday morning for like 5 minutes, but like we're giving you a freaking section of our webpage where you
Right.
can buy your tickets online and everything else.
That's crazy.
So yeah, so it's aggravating. But social media, we've gone through the terrors of social media. We've gone through the ways it can help you, ways it can be so aggravating. Let's talk about ways that social media is magical. There was a goat that showed up on stage at Ham Bones, and I'm going to leave it to Jeremy. How did this goat end up on stage at Ham Bones?
Mary Jo Cole, you're going to hate me for this story. It's like, get all cozy here. Okay, so it was August of 2016, and there was a big music festival about to happen in Lawrenceville. And we were watching the meeting happen. I was watching the meeting happen amongst all the people, and I said, we should have a petting zoo. And they said, no, we're not going to have a petting zoo. That's stupid. Fuck that. And I said, well, fuck you. Let's have a llama. With just one llama. We could do that, right? And clearly I am a ham because...
Well, she said no llama.
She said, we're not having a fucking llama. And I looked over at one of the other people that was in charge of the meeting for the music festival discussions, and I said, I need you to go live on Facebook. I need to make a video. And he says, of what? And I said, I have a song, and I need you to videotape it. And it was a stupid little song, just promoting the music festival and talking about a llama. And it got 1,000 views. Like it was like over, boom. It was like the biggest video that had nothing to do with my music career ever, that I had ever been a part of. And I was like, oh, look, I'm finally one of those silly internet jokes.
He's Chewbacca Mom, the local Chewbacca Mom.
I made no money, but I did wreak havoc with the llamas on the internet. All my friends and a bunch of fans got involved, and it just got messy, and everybody was giggling about it. And I thought somehow we were going to actually pull off like a real llama coming just because of the internet sensation it had created, but that didn't happen. Instead, we had a friend. I tried to look up the name. I can't remember it right now. Amber Bamber's going to yell at me. She should write in right now and tell us the name of that Facebook page to find. But this gentleman who travels across the world or the country. And,
from Seattle to New York City.
With a goat. And all the money they raise goes towards this orphanage, right? That he had made in South Africa, I think, or something.
Something like that, yeah, out in
Something
Africa.
like that, yeah. But anyways, this goat just walked into Ham Bones and stood on stage, and I'm like standing next to it, like, damn, those horns are real. It's like, imagine if we had a llama, it would have been like, it'd have been like screaming at us, and I'd have been like, hey, that's not right. And then Mary Jo would be like, haha, see, that's what you get for putting llamas all over the internet and making my music festival have to deal with hashtag we want llamas, hashtag rant 2016. I mean, like,
and it really blew up. Like, people brought llama masks. People built cardboard llamas that you could wear. Like, it was crazy.
yeah, we took a photo with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what other social media magical stories do you guys have? Because I feel like everybody's got to have at least one story of something that's fascinating.
That was mine.
Yeah, I think for me, it's most recent. It's just happened the other day, but like 3 weeks ago, on Twitter, I tweeted that I said I want to sign to Rosham Records, which is from Pittsburgh label. I believe in Benji Grinberg, and that's all I want to do. That's what I tweeted. That was the tweet. And then it just started picking up. Like, people were just like retweeting it and favoriting it and things like that. And Rosham Records was tagged, and also Benji was tagged. And it just got to the point over a couple of days where it was being retweeted and favorited so much that he saw it. when he logged in. I'm sure he doesn't get like tweets all the time, so I'm sure it was like massive. He opened it up and it was like, oh, there's 100 things on here, and he had to pay attention to it. So he tweeted me back and he's like, send the music over, and I had a really great conversation with him yesterday around the label. It's more of a popish label now, so my music doesn't fit the label. But he gave me a lot of like just great stuff, and I was able to talk to an owner of a record label that I didn't think would be possible.
Yeah.
In any regular situation, right? So because of Twitter, because of the magic of Twitter, and people just believing in dreams that they want to see things happen. I think that's like one thing on Twitter that's a little bit different. People want to see things skyrocket on Twitter because they want to have this like huge thing. They want to be a part of this.
People
huge
think it's instant
phenomenon,
success.
right? Yeah. And it was something that was just like really kind of surreal for me, being able to have that conversation and be able to be in that same thing. And he heard my music and he loved the album that I'm about to release, called Henny Hardaway. It's coming very soon, spring.
Where can people find it?
Everywhere.
Well,
It's not
give
gonna
me a
be
website, something that people
a
can type in
you
right
can
now
go to
as they're
rarenation.
listening.
You go to rarenation.com.
Okay.
So rarenation.com. It'll be on there. All my stuff is on there. All my artists are on there. Yeah. But that was a pretty awesome conversation I had, and it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the power of social media. Just people want to believe in things and see things succeed, and that made me love the world again.
Very cool. Liss?
Mine's much more low key and also recent. We're doing an open mic at the Pittsburgh Art House where I live. I started it sort of as a way to force myself to do a thing, even though I'm missing it right now. I had to call in reinforcements, which shout out to Liz Tripoli, Sarah Halter, and Shoop for taking care of that for me tonight. Also, Leah Silverbeams, she's in on it as well. I've got like a crew. It's really, really rad. The house mic itself, we call it house mic. It's supposed to be a fun play on Pittsburgh culture, I suppose. And I started it thinking, well, at the end of the day, I have 2 other friends who are basically required to hang out with me and a PA that I get to have fun with. So if nobody shows up, that means I hang out with Sarah and Liz and we play with the electronics. It's going to be fun no matter what. But people totally showed up and I was super stoked, and I, didn't really put any further promotion into it besides making a Facebook event and through the Pittsburgh Art House page, which has a bunch more likes than any of the other pages that I admin. Not true, but close to true. And a few people who I had never met, who were completely outside my network and everything else, showed up for the first few mics, and I'm meeting them, and I'm like, so how did you hear about this thing that I barely advertised?
Your Facebook stalker.
Well, they're just like the internet. I just found it looking for stuff at random, and I thought that was so cool. Like, I'd never met them.
Anybody I know?
I don't know. One of them is Adam Cleese. Okay. I'm not sure whose names I should just shout out to the world, So
it's the internet. Nobody's watching. Everybody's watching. I'm not
gonna elaborate too much on a bunch of other names, but some of them were totally new to the city, and I'm thinking, wow, you showed up at my house. Why aren't you at Ham Bones? No, that's on Tuesday.
Yeah, but your house is very
that's
cool.
That's a real crowd.
Like the art house, if anyone hasn't been there, they actually have clouds hanging from the ceiling, and they have like a bunny made out of laundry lint. It's crazy. But go on.
But yeah, I was just surprised that people who didn't seem to be at all connected within that community network of Facebook somehow found it. And I did put it on Twitter, I think. Maybe not the first couple, but I'll put up graphics now, like the day of the show.
Sure.
It's supposed to be low-key, and it's supposed to be low pressure, so I try not to, do it 110%. It's more like...
Only 105.
It's more like a 75%, like I can let things go, and I don't have to like beat myself up about things or be upset like, oh my God, I didn't do this or get it done on this date. That's my thing that I know I have to do, but I have wiggle room for it. Instead of being like militant, this has to be done, sort of thing.
Mario.
No, I'm joking. One of the things that I try to practice when posting and or sharing something is just being grateful. I've noticed that, like, just saying it, like, yo, I'm just so excited, so happy, so grateful for this thing. And I share that. I tend to get a lot of feedback from that, like a lot of good feedback, a lot of shares, things of that nature. But recently, my studio and myself, we were featured in the Post-Gazette. And the Post-Gazette was like, they posted it, there was not that much action, so I shared it to my personal profile, and I was just like, hey, Level Up and myself were featured in the Post-Gazette. I am just extremely grateful. Next thing I know, it goes from like 1 view to like 6,000 within a day.
Wow.
We have a potential partnership with Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy now. Due to that, a lot of people just coming in, wanting to know more. We just got hit up. What is the high school? West Mifflin High School just hit us up too, asking if we can do a program there. There's one of the library in the north side is interested in doing a partnership. So like a lot of opportunities like that. But like I said, normally even with my music, it's like when I'm grateful, and I say that because that's real to people. Normally that's when I get the feedback and the response that I'm really looking for. But really excited about that.
Being genuine works.
Genuine.
Genuine. Genuine.
Well, it's interesting. Jeremy and I went out a little bit before we came in today, and we were talking about the Millville Music Festival. And this isn't as inspiring as maybe some of these stories that we just heard, but it's interesting. The River's Edge, we do okay. We do well on social media, but it's constant work and constant effort to try to get people interested and engaged and continuing to come back for more. But the Millville Music Festival, we posted the event, and within the first 24 hours, over 2,000 people responded on Facebook, and over 100 bands applied to perform. Now we're at over 3,000 people who have responded on Facebook, and over 300 bands that have applied to perform at the festival. And it was just interesting to see the community reaction to that event, and it's weird to see how it sparked so suddenly. And I don't really know what the answer is, but I was expecting to run around and try to drum up interest in this event, and here I find myself just treading water trying to keep up.
I think you found yourself in a local music scene, a local creative scene that is constantly adding more and more and more and more opportunity, because more and more and more people keep coming here trying to.
But isn't that what the River's Edge is as well? It's an opportunity, and it's part of that scene.
River's Edge is an opportunity, absolutely. An opportunity to get 1 to 2 songs, a bunch of internet promotion, constant support. The things that you do in your business with River's Edge are things that I think a lot of other businesses don't. And I don't think that they do it because they don't want to or don't think of it. I think it's they realize, we talked about a level of a name, what did you say, P. Diddy?
Yeah.
Yeah. If P. Diddy's gonna tell me, call my name out, I'm gonna be jumping all over that. You know what I mean? And if Liss calls me out, I'm probably going to do the same thing just because her and I are really close, right? But, I'm sure there's other people out there, like that, yeah. But I'm sure there's other situations where, you're talking about your artists not giving you support, per se, the way that you would have expected, but you're giving them support on social media. I think a lot of people don't think. I think a lot of people, personally, I am totally guilty of this. In fact, I thought I was going to come on this panel today and be the dude that was, I actually kind of fulfilled my dreams, to be the dude that was like, I don't know, I kind of stopped using social medias as much and really put a lot of effort into personal face-to-face interactions, which has helped my social media promotions become more beneficial for my career. So I think there's a balance between straight internet talk and the personal interaction and genuineness that we can offer for whatever, I'm not sure this place that we're in, work hard. I've only been here once before, and I didn't even know that I had been in here. Like, this is a space for people to have the opportunity to create. They're going to go from there, and they're going to put that where they want to put it. It could be on the internet. It could be just in their friend's house. It could, whatever it is, they're sharing this. This is their ability to grow, and I sometimes think that people just don't take enough appreciation of that, and other people do. And so, be genuine, I guess, is how I'll conclude that whole spiel of randomness.
Absolutely.
Just to go on the genuine thing, first I want to shout out my partners, Patrick Everett and Sean Batang. Shout out to them. But we recently had a lady come in to our studio and ask us what we do, and we're like, oh, we make music, we teach dance, this and that. And we were like, didn't think anything of it. We were just being nice, being regular, being real. And next thing we know, like a couple days later, we get a call from Yelp. And Yelp is like, white people snitch land, right? Yelp's like, yo, you guys got 5 stars, blah, 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 blah. You got to check out this review. And I read the review, and it's like, oh, I met these 3 amazing young guys who make music, who are great, blah, 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 in Garfield, this, and that. And now we're in the position to reach a lot of people on Yelp, which is really, really hard. Like, anytime you look up any business on Yelp, not like any business, and you'll see like 4 stars. You'll see every complaint in the book. I hate this. They were late 5 minutes, type shit. And like, we don't have any of that. We have just a fresh page, And I was talking to a guy today, and I'm just like, wow, I couldn't believe like all the things he was saying to me. He's like, dude, you guys have something magical here. And I was so excited, and I just thought like, we were just nice. We were just real. We just welcomed this lady. She was an older lady. We welcomed her, and it's like, oh, check this out, da, 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 da. And like, people respond to that. And I think if you apply those same principles to your social media strategy, people can only love you. You know what I mean? People don't necessarily like what you have to offer. They like you.
Yeah.
And you have to keep that in mind when you're creating content and when you're posting and sharing your gift. It's like, am I being a cool person, or am I being a dick?
Well, one thing I do have to add is you mentioned 5 minutes like it's not a big deal, but to quote Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles, wise men say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza. If you're interested in local music, May 13th, all throughout Millville, we have the Millville Music Festival, which runs from noon to midnight, all throughout Millville, various venues, some of the best local talent in the city, all in one spot. If you want to support local music, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. at Millville Studios on North Avenue, we have the Millville Music Festival Valentine's Bingo, $1 for 2 cards. That's coming up as well. If you guys want to give yourself a shout out, who you are, where you're going to be, let people know where they can find you, where they can buy your music, starting with Palermo, down the road. Let's go.
Yeah, Palermo Stone. You can find all my stuff at rarenation.com. That's RARE Nation.com. Everything, my events, all that kind of stuff is on there. My next show is March 4th at the Smiling Moves with a guy named Belay. We're actually going on a little short tour right after that. For a week or 2. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm doing a summer tour as well within 15 cities. Just taking an RV and taking my chances.
Yeah, taking those risks.
Liss Victory, Liss Victory, like the word. You can find Liss Victory on pretty much every social network except Vine, which disappeared and came back. I don't know what's going on. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook kind of have a capitalization on that name, which is pretty cool. Next show coming up would be March 3rd at Hambones. I'll be with my band, my Pittsburgh-based band, Victory at the Crossroads, and that's put on by Red Fishbowl Promotions Company. Every Thursday from now until May at the Pittsburgh Art House, which is located in East Liberty, Highland Park area, east end of Pittsburgh. We do the house mic, which is 7 to 10 p.m. After 10 p.m. we go acoustic because of sound ordinance. And you can find the collection of everything that I just said at lissvictory.com. That exists as well. Also on iTunes, also on Spotify, and all that other fun stuff. Make me some money. Click that stuff. Click it.
You can also listen to our at riversedgepgh.com. Mario.
Peace, family. Mario Quinn. You can find me at The Mind of Quinn. Also, MarioQuinn.com. look at all my art, all my dance videos, music, etc. Also, Level Up PGH at Level Up PGH and leveluppgh.com. Check out our business. We're doing great things for our community and for underprivileged youth in Garfield and East Liberty. Check us out. Feel me?
I do. Jeremy Caywood. That's Caywood. Just look me up. I'm on Spotify, iTunes, Facebook, all of the things that everybody else said. We all are on the same internet sites. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, main point, Jeremy Caywood. Check me out. I don't have any shows. I'm in the studio, so probably won't see some shows for a while, but count on a new album. So.
All right.
Brian Crawford's River's Edge Radio right over there.
That's right. He's also on there. I'm Brian Crawford. I am Pittsburgh's Moral Compass. You can hear me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. at riversedgepgh.com and other shows available also at riversedgepgh.com. Please check that out and listen 24 hours a day for the best in Pittsburgh local music. You have been listening to An Evening with Podcamp, sponsored and brought to you by Podcamp Pittsburgh. You can follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and everywhere else to find the best in podcasting in Pittsburgh, great educational material, and more. That's Podcamp Pittsburgh. Follow them for all of the great stuff that they have to offer. This has been An Evening with Podcamp, musicians, and social media. I'm Brian Crawford. Thank you for spending your evening here with us.
Peace.